The Vincennes University Jasper campus will soon look for new leadership. More on that, plus 10-digit dialing will soon become the norm here in southwestern Indiana, and part 2 of Sue Ellspermann's interview with Bill Potter tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. Change will be coming to the Vincennes University Jasper campus later this year. This morning, Campus Dean Dr. Alan Johnson announced his plans to retire this summer once the current school year concludes. Johnson has been the dean at VUJC since 2006. Johnson says, though it was a tough decision to step down, a lot of different things made it the right decision.
The stars are coming into alignment. I wanted to finish off the Center for Technology, Innovation, and Manufacturing building and get that launched and the programming running in it. And that's now going and is being very successful. I've been deeply involved in the leadership of Du Bois Strong, trying to redirect that organization for economic development purposes, and I'm feeling really good about the way that's off and running. And then I have a milestone birthday coming this summer, and so everything coming together just makes this the right time.
Johnson is set to turn 70 later this year. Johnson says he will remain involved with Du Bois Strong as an emeritus board member. He is also a board member of Grow Du Bois County and will continue to be involved there. Johnson is credited with the building and the launch of the Center for Technology, Innovation, and Manufacturing back in 2013. He has also served as the chairman for Du Bois Strong and developed partnerships between various community organizations and VUJC. Johnson says the outlook for Du Bois County going forward is very strong.
I see Du Bois County continuing to thrive. I'm very encouraged by some of the threads that have come together. We have great leadership in our cities and towns now, people who have brought vision to those positions. We have leadership in the businesses in the area who are seeing their revenues pick up and are beginning to see the need to develop their workforce.
Johnson has worked in education since 1967. He has spent 42 of his 48-year career in higher education. Of those 42 years, 39 of them have been at the technical and community college level. In the end, Johnson says getting VUJC more connected with the rest of the community has been his crowning achievement.
I'm extremely proud of the way we have been able to embed this institution deeply into community affairs throughout the area, to let people know that VUJC can be a neutral facilitator of educational activities, of important conversations. I want people to look to VUJC for leadership in moving our communities forward and in developing citizenship in the area.
Johnson says he and his wife Carol will be leaving Du Bois County to settle in another area. He says that area will be near a large university and a community college where he would be able to help out as a volunteer. Well, after a lengthy delay, we are now less than a month away from 10-digit phone dialing here in southwestern Indiana. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission says all local calls in the 812 area code will have to be dialed with the area code plus the telephone number starting February 7th. Even with the change in dialing, the IURC says calls that are considered local now will continue to be local in the future. You will have to dial a 1 for any long-distance call. Now, the IURC opened a grace period for 10-digit dialing back on March 1st of last year. The agency says residents and businesses have now had plenty of time to adjust to the dialing change. The new area code will be implemented through the overlay method, which has been used for all area code changes nationwide since 2008. The decision for an area code overlay was made back in July of 2013 after a year-long study that included 10 public field hearings and a 7-month-long public comment period. People with medical equipment or other safety and security equipment need to make sure that their devices are programmed to use 10-digit dialing prior to February 7th. Contact your medical alert or security provider with questions or concerns. On a final note, the IURC says anyone who moves to a different area of southern Indiana anytime on or after March 7th may be assigned a phone number with the new 930 area code. The debate continues about future sites for the Jasper Library. Last night, the Jasper Library Board heard an update from Board Attorney Bill Schoenfeld about a recent meeting he had with City Attorney Renee Cabrick concerning the former Hoosier Desk property. Schoenfeld told the board the city wants to move ahead with the library on the Hoosier Desk option. That effort would be overseen by Gamble and Associates. Now, under that plan, the Jasper Library would share the building with the Jasper Arts Commission. Gamble and Associates would do the design study at a cost of $28,800. The city and the library would each pay $14,400 of that cost. However, the board decided not to go ahead with the plan just yet due to concerns about the building's condition. The board instead asked Schoenfeld to talk with Cabrick about having Universal Design do an engineering study on the building. In the end, Library Director Christine Golden says it's about making sure that there would be no problems with the building in the future.
We have the information from Gamble and Associates to go forward with basically the design of the building, but really everyone just really wants to know, because there's been so many questions, not only from the board but from the public. That's what we have heard more than anything, is basically, is it even sound to go in there? So, and we haven't had any guarantees or any kind of fact on that, so we just want to know about that. So that's why we're asking to do that step first.
Other issues to be worked out would include ownership of the building. Economic development projects in Huntingburg have taken the next step forward. Last night, the Huntingburg City Council approved a tax abatement resolution for the former St. Joseph's Hospital property. The resolution was introduced during the council's last meeting, December 23rd. The redevelopment work on the hospital will now get 10-year, 100% tax abatement. The incentives will not exceed $250,000. The council also passed an ordinance introduced last month that would set aside a $50,000 grant from edit funds and a resolution to improve infrastructure such as utilities near the hospital. Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner says it's a relief to finally be moving forward.
It's very gratifying to have this process completed this evening, as it does give the green light for Miller Valentine to begin the work on the project on the hospital. As Mr. Schwigerot reported this evening, they have received some bids on the work already. They're beginning their negotiation with those contractors, and we're expecting maybe a 30-day delay in the actual start of the process due to weather and those negotiations.
Spinner says construction on the hospital will likely begin next month. The effort to restore Jasper's Astra Theater has now garnered national attention. Next Act Incorporated has been featured in an article by Inside Philanthropy. IP was started in order to showcase the work of community foundations and major donors nationwide. Next Act has been working with the Du Bois County Community Foundation to jumpstart the restoration of the Astra. Back in November, the foundation gave a $100,000 matching grant to Next Act to help in their fundraising efforts. The grant is going into a $300,000 endowment that is set up specifically for the theater. Now, the Community Foundation will match 50 cents for every dollar contributed to that fund. That's being done up to $100,000. Next Act has already received $80,000 in pledges to date, according to the Community Foundation. The group is raising $165,000 on its own to buy the Astra building from current owners Jerry and Doris Gutzweiler. The Astra has been closed since 2002. Finally this evening, there is some good news in store for those of you already tired of the cold weather. Indiana's state climatologist says Hoosiers can expect a gradual warming trend by mid-January following the bitterly cold start to 2015. Purdue University-based climatologist Dave Niogi says that after a brief warm-up later this month, weather models suggest that temperatures will drop again for a long spell. Niogi says the outlook for February through March generally calls for temperatures to be cooler than normal. However, Niogi says the state climate office also expects below normal precipitation across Indiana through March, in keeping with the office's earlier prediction of a drier than normal overall winter. Niogi says that will likely mean less snowfall this winter than last year, when the state was buffeted by frequent snowstorms. All right, coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform with Sue Elsperman. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.